Hi there, birders. It's Joe, the Springbrook Birder for the DuPage Birding Club. I'm birding today in Naperville, Illinois, one of the most affluent and crowded suburbs of all of Chicagoland. Naperville is a typical suburb with wall-to-wall houses, lots of traffic congestion, lots of shopping centers. And yet, in the middle of all the manicured lawns, concrete and asphalt and busy roads, there's an oasis for birds and birding at Springbrook Prairie. In fact, if you look around Springbrook where I am today, you often wonder whether you're still in northeastern Illinois. It's more like a natural area in Wisconsin. There's large areas of native grasslands and prairies. There's wetlands that are of high quality. There's streams with beaver dams on it. In fact, you really question where you are when you're out here in the middle of Springbrook. At Springbrook over the years, I've recorded 239 species here at the site, which is a nice, respectable level for northern Illinois. Springbrook provides some of the best habitat for many unusual wetland and grassland species here in the state. Out here at Springbrook, we have nesting Northern Harriers, short-eared owls have nested here, king rail, Sandhill Cranes. We also have a complete suite of the Grassland Birds who find great habitat out here at Springbrook. That's like bobolinks, eastern meadowlarks, Henslow sparrow, Savannah sparrow, sedge wren. They're all out here and nesting. So how did Springbrook become such a great place for birds and birding? In the next segment of the video, I'll answer those questions: is why is Springbrook here, and why is it such a great place for grassland and wetland birds in all of northeastern Illinois. In the meantime, there's still lots of great birds to find at Springbrook, so I'm going to continue my birding adventure for the day. As the Springbrook Birder, I'm often asked how I find so many unusual birds at Springbrook Prairie. Of course, my first answer is because I'm a great birder. It also helps that I spend lots of time birding at Springbrook. But really, the most important reason that I find so many different birds at Springbrook is that it has the habitat to attract those unusual species. Without the right habitat, I could be the best birder around, spend all my time there, and not find many birds at all. So why is habitat the key factor to finding birds anywhere we go birding? Let's start by defining habitat and talking a little bit about birds and habitat preference. Birds' habitat can be defined as that combination of physical, biological, and geographic conditions required by individuals of a species to survive and reproduce. Each bird species has its own unique habitat requirements that developed over time in response to changes in its environment and competition. Some birds we know, such as the American robin and mourning dove, have very broad or general habitat requirements. Those two species are found throughout North America and occur in many different habitat settings. On the other hand, Portland's warbler has a very unique habitat requirement and only nests in certain age pine forests in Michigan. The Henslow sparrow eats large grasslands with a certain amount of standing dried grasses for nesting. You will not find those birds nesting away from the required habitat types. If you think about it as birders, we know that we only find certain birds in certain habitats. In fact, many birds just are not found away from the preferred habitats, especially during the nesting season. A bird's unique habitat is critically important, since without it, they cannot sustain viable populations. If their habitat is not there, birds will not be there. Why do Sandhill Cranes nest at Springbrook Prairie? Why can I consistently find king rails at Springbrook? They are now very rare at other sites in northeastern Illinois. Why do Northern Harriers nest in such a suburban location? And why do all the expected grassland bird species nest at Springbrook? Guess what? Habitat. Springbrook Prairie provides the unique habitat requirements needed to attract all those unusual species. Land, vegetation, and other physical characteristics of Springbrook provide what those birds need to nest successfully. And the amazing thing is that Springbrook provides such great habitat for birds right in the middle of a thriving, crowded suburban environment. You do not need to travel to some remote rural location to find them. As you can see from this aerial photo, Springbrook is truly an oasis of bird habitat surrounded by developed land. How did Springbrook become such a hotspot for birds? Well, it was no accident. Fortunately for us and the birds, Forest Preserve District of DuPage County recognized the need to preserve a large area of open space in the southwestern portion of the county in the mid-1970s. That was when Naperville was still a small farming town. The district purchased all the land that is now Springbrook to create a large forest preserve. Back then, over 99% of the land was row crops, pastures, and homesteads, with no native vegetation or good bird habitat. How did today's great bird habitats at Springbrook get here? Well, starting in the 1980s, DuPage Forest Preserve started restoring natural habitats to the site by planting many fields with cool season grasses and native prairie plants. They also created wetlands. Fields of row crops and farmland and drainage ditches were turned into a wonderful nature preserve. All those nice marshes at Springbrook that attract water and marsh birds are man-made. Springbrook is a great example of successful bird habitat restoration and of the adage, build it and they will come, even if it is in the middle of an urban or suburban environment. But just creating good habitat is not enough. Because there are so many invasive plant, tree, and shrub species, as well as other human-based stressors, constant management is needed to maintain Springbrook's bird habitats so that they do not deteriorate or lose their ecological value. For example, there is a constant invasion of woody shrubs and trees into the fields used by grassland birds. Without removal of that woody vegetation, the open habitat that grassland birds need would be ruined, and the birds would disappear from the site. Similarly, invasives such as Phragmites, purple loosestrife, and non-native cattails choke up the wetlands and need to be managed to maintain high-quality wetlands. So it is no accident that many unusual birds can be found at Springbrook Prairie. We have worked long and hard to create and manage the habitats that those birds need to survive. The good news is that Springbrook Prairie is a great example of how we can create and maintain habitat for birds. To do so, first have to preserve land as open space. Second, we need to create and restore bird-friendly habitat. And third, we need to continually maintain those habitats that are critical to the survival of the birds we love. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and that you learned a little bit about habitats and birds and their requirements. Springbrook is a great place for birds because of the habitats, but it does take constant management. And if we don't manage the sites properly, we're going to lose all those great birds. So if you enjoy birds and birding, one thing you can do is help by volunteering. Call your local agency or your nonprofit and volunteer to help maintain bird habitat. I've done that for many years at Springbrook, and I find it very rewarding knowing that the work that I've done there has helped save the birds and keep them there so I can enjoy them and others can enjoy them. So if There's a couple lessons to be learned from our video. It's about the importance of habitat. Think about it. If you go to a forest, you're not going to find king rails. If you're looking for warblers, you're not going to find them in the middle of the prairie. So to be a better birder, learn about bird habitat and their relationships, and you'll be able to find more birds. So for now, that's, I think, a good message for us for today. So for the DuPage Birding Club, this is Joe, the Springbrook Birder, and remember, bird with a purpose.